Two things you should know about me. 1. I am a technical support staff member. I work for a quasi-governmental agency, that is one that is run by a private board of directors but has little funding other than from state or federal sources. Yes, I'm a nerd, but a top-notch nerd. My job involves not only keeping computer hardware and software up to date, but also audio-visual equipment, usually connected to a computer. By default, I have to become an expert in slideshows, videos, online learning, etc. 2. I'm obsessed with mysteries. I have watched and probably have on DVD all the TV mystery shows and many movies. Name the mystery author and I can tell you his/her writing style and typical storyline. Currently, my mystery addiction is fueled by the CSI series. I could give you many more details about my addiction, but that would probably just discourage you. Well now, with that biographical information out of the way, let's get to the story. My name is Jared Simpson. I was married to Beverly Connors Simpson for 24 years. We had 2 sons, Sydney and Norris. Beverly was a stay-at-home mom until the older boy got his driver's license and was able to drive himself and his brother to and from school. This gave Beverly the opportunity to take a director position at Second Chance Mission, her favorite local charity, for 5 years. Although our marriage was never heavenly, the thorn in my paw was my obsession with solving mysteries. In particular, I was focused on finding evidence of one spouse cheating on another. You've probably already guessed where this is going. I was absolutely certain that Beverly had cheated on me, and 3 times. Each time I confronted her, she denied it and demanded proof. Each time my proof was nothing more than random facts with a lot of imagination on my part. I tried to justify my suspicions with remarks about how beautiful she looked at 45 and how easy it was to believe that every man who saw her wanted her. I paid dearly for my mistakes. First, she replied, "You must be kidding." Then she began to say, "I think you're only accusing me to cover your lustful thoughts about other women." Finally, she replied, "You better have real proof next time, because at one point I'm going to be furious about divorce and castration, and not necessarily in that order." The worst part was that she always had the last word. No matter how many times I kept fighting, eventually I had to leave it up to her to have the last word on sleep, go to work, an appointment, or whatever. With the exception of talking about boys, our conversations were usually adversarial in nature. Our sex life was on life support. After she took over as director of Second Chance, I gradually had to take over most of the chores she did around the house. If I dared to question the role reversal, she would look at me with a, "Well, where did I put the clippers?" expression, and I would relent. I stopped accusing her of cheating, not because my stupid brain couldn't keep coming up with possible affairs, but because it was important to me to preserve the essence of my being male. And damned if she didn't turn out to be an amazing agency director. Contrary to other agencies that lost money during those bad economic times, Beverly was able to increase Second Chance's budget through local fundraising and state and federal grants. She assembled a board of directors made up of some of the most influential and wealthy members of the community. Her programs have been recognized at the local and state levels. Her employment and community transition program for formerly incarcerated people was nominated for a national award. She accepted accolades with humility toward others and arrogance toward me. Barbara didn't care when I tried to praise her work. She was always dismissive of my praise, as if it were merely proof of my willingness to suck up to her rather than proof of my sincere admiration. My big attempt to impress Barbara came when I managed to get a huge grant to buy new computers and software for Second Chance's job readiness program. Beverly never thanked me, and even complained that the computers increased her internet cable costs. The only saving grace in our relationship was that we had the boys' backs. They did well in school and sports, and seemed to be among the most popular in the class. Once Beverly went to work, we were soon able to pre-fund their college education, at least at the undergraduate level. The oldest is now a sophomore in college, and the youngest will be a freshman next fall. The next part is probably what you're looking for in this story: a clue. Another characteristic is that I am very punctual. Every day I leave work at 5 p.m. and get home by 5:30 p.m., depending on traffic. Beverly is usually home by 3:30 since the mission only works until 2 o'clock every day. It usually takes her about an hour to do her paperwork and clean up. Yes, my forensic mind demanded that I check on what she was doing after the mission closed, and she did exactly what she was supposed to do. On this particular day, the squirrel served as the basis for the first domino on which this story is based. The squirrel got into a transformer, causing other transformers to explode and knocking out power to our building and a neighboring block. The electric company said the power wouldn't be restored until late afternoon. Reluctantly, our department head allowed everyone to rest for the rest of the day without taking annual leave. I was very rarely home when Beverly arrived. She entered the house with a concerned look on her face and asked, "I saw your car. Are you sick?" "No. There was a power outage on the other side of town. They sent us home early. Are you okay? You look a little disheveled." Her hair and makeup didn't match the perfect look she usually sported. I was supposed to serve lunch today and help out in the kitchen. Some of the volunteers didn't show up. I need to clean up. I'll be back later." With those words, she hurried upstairs trying to hide her appearance. As you've probably guessed by now, it doesn't take much for me to go into CSI mode. I quietly followed her upstairs. Hearing the sound of water running in the shower, I walked into our adjoining bedroom, ours when I wasn't banned from the guest bedroom, and saw her clothes strewn on the floor. It wasn't like her. I picked up her panties and examined them. There was some sort of whitish-yellow substance in them. If I took the panties away, she would realize that I suspected her of being involved with sex, and that would be the last straw for her. I walked carefully into the bathroom, hoping she wouldn't notice. But she did notice. "What are you doing in here? Can't you wait until I'm done? Get out." "Sorry, honey, I just had to get my nail clippers. A hangnail." Instead, I grabbed a cotton swab and took it into the bedroom. I ran it over the residual liquid on my panties and was about to put them back on the floor when I noticed a small, curly black hair. This hair was hardly from her head, nor could it have been mine. I used the other end of the cotton swab and grabbed that hair as well. Going down to the kitchen, I grabbed a couple of small plastic sandwich bags. I put the hair in one bag and the swab in the other. Then I put the bags in my briefcase. If I had the money, I'd probably buy myself a mini forensics lab with all the microscopic and analytical equipment I could get my hands on. Better yet, know someone who works in such a lab. Our neighbors, the Jacksons, have a daughter who shares my passion for forensics and became a forensic pathologist with the state police. When she was growing up, I was her mentor in buying equipment and repairing her computer when she had problems. Although I did this for several neighbors and their children, Judy was the only one who shared the mystery gene. I came to see her. Judy greeted me. "Oh no, another clue to an unsolved mystery?" "Judy, is this how you treat your old buddy, friend, mentor? Do you know I could have been fired after that last test I ran for you? I think my debt to you has already been paid." She thought for a moment before I let curiosity get the better of her. "Okay, what do you have?" "I have the substance on the end of a cotton swab and a hair. I need you to tell me everything you can about what the substance is and where the hair came from." "Please don't tell me this is another's he's having an affair scenario." "Okay, I won't tell you." Judy sighed. "You know we're breaking all sorts of rules and laws, don't you?" "Yeah, so what?" "Nothing. Just wanted to make sure you were aware of it. I should have the results in a week or so." "In a week?" "Look, I need to find the right time to run the tests. That means I need to know how much time I have before someone checks what goes through the machine in question. I'll do it when I think it's safe, okay?" "Okay, I'm sorry about that. It's just important to me." "And when wasn't it important? Now go get out of here." A week went by and there was nothing from Judy. A second week went by and nothing either. I figured my hair was falling out and I didn't have much to lose. I broke down and called her. "I'm sorry to call, but it's been 2 weeks." "I was just about to call you. It's for a reason. We need to talk, and not over the phone. Can you meet me at the Starbucks near my office tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.? I agreed and was on my guard until our meeting. I couldn't even drink my cinnamon latte. I was so nervous. Judy reported, "It took me so long because there were 3 substances on the swab. I had to separate them and then test each one. The 3 substances were secretions from a Caucasian woman in her late 40s or early 50s, saliva from the same Caucasian woman, and a sample from a 35-year-old African-American male." After so many years of suspicions and fantasies, getting actual proof of my wife's infidelity was still a low blow to me. After sitting in a daze for a couple minutes, I heard Judy continue, "The hair belonged to the same African-American male. I hope it's not what I think it is." Judy got up to leave. "Remember, you are not to tell anyone where you got this information from. It cannot be shown in court. Mr. Simpson, that's it for me. If you want evidence you can use in your divorce, it's up to you to find it." Great, now I had proof. But it was proof I couldn't use in divorce proceedings. Okay, I need pictures and audio recordings. I'm tech-savvy, so this should be a breeze. All I needed was to know where to put the cameras. Over the next few days, I pondered where Beverly could have an affair. Nothing indicated that she had someone in our house. Nothing indicated a motel or a love nest outside of town. There was no pattern to her spending nights or weekends away from home. I decided I needed a private investigator to follow her. Since I could not afford a private investigator, I found myself in a quandary. Since she rarely left on nights and weekends, I could follow her during those times, but it would be very difficult. She could easily spot my car. The biggest time I couldn't cover was during the day. The solution to the problem of daytime spying came from an unexpected source. I remembered that my army buddy Walt had called a few weeks ago to tell me that our third musketeer, Danny, was being transferred from Walter Reed to a new homeless shelter in our town. There were originally 4 musketeers, but Ronnie committed suicide after returning to the States from his 3rd tour, the last of which was in Afghanistan. Danny lost both legs below the knee in an IED explosion in Iraq. He spent a lot of time in hospitals and rehab centers until he was fitted with a pair of bionic legs that he could carry. But even then, he preferred a wheelchair to get around faster and avoid lines at the airport. I called Walt. "Walt, hi. How's it going?" "Hey, Sarge. I kept wondering when you were going to call. Danny's supposed to be here next week." "That's why I called. Do you have anything for him, especially anything involving liquor, cigars, and loud music?" "I thought we could take him to the Woodshed." "What?" "The Woodshed is a new bar and grill in the Southland. It's not usually too crowded, and a few old army buddies have started hanging out there." "Sounds like you've become an expert on bars and grills." Going where my heart leads. "Okay, let me know the day and time. I'll be there." When the day of the reunion arrived, I approached Beverly with the question of how I was going to meet up with my old army buddies. She responded as I expected. "Are you sure you're not going to meet your girlfriend?" She smiled smugly. "Go and play with the other boys. At least you'll be away from me for a while." The last word, as usual. At the Woodshed, Walt, Denny, and I drank and told war stories. We all toasted to Ronnie more than once. After a lull in the conversation for a while, I brought up an idea that had occurred to me. "Danny, I need your help with something. I'm willing to pay." Denny's composure soured. "Look, Sarge, I don't need your damn charity." "Hey, take the clip out of your gun, Bioman. I'm talking about something I'm going to have to pay someone for, and I figured you could do it. I need someone I can absolutely trust." "I'm sorry. I get touchy too easily. What do you have?" "Have you heard about the Second Chance mission?" "Yes, we were told at orientation at the shelter that the mission has job counselors and activities we can participate in during the day. I thought I'd check it out." "Well, my old lady runs the place, and I think she's having an affair, maybe with someone there." Walt interjected. "Oh no, not again, man. When are you going to give it up? You've never had any information on her." "I have forensic evidence this time, but I need more. Are you going to help me or not?" Danny replied, "Shit. This sucks. What can I do to help?" Walt looked at that in disbelief but didn't say anything else. "I just need you to go down there for a few days and observe. Let me know if she goes missing during the day. That's all." "That's it? I can handle that. Maybe I should ride in my wheelchair." "That sounds good. Here's my number. Stay in touch." Danny arrived at the Second Chance mission and very slowly got into the daily routine. It helped that he had a legitimate need for his services. One day his cover was almost blown. Beverly walked over and introduced herself. She saw his name on his army jacket. "Tooley." "Danny Tooley? You were in Iraq with my husband, Jared?" "I'm sorry, my name is Alfred Tooley, and I was in Afghanistan, not Iraq." She didn't continue the conversation. 2 weeks passed before Danny called. "You want a progress report? 7 o'clock at the woodshed?" I didn't expect Barbara to be stupid enough to have an affair at a busy agency like Second Chance. Danny pulled out a notepad and reported, "The morning is filled with many different activities, people coming and going. Your wife is usually in the thick of it. She doesn't spend much time in the office. However, after lunch, she often has counseling sessions with guys who want to get jobs. Most of the sessions seem random, but there is one guy who goes almost every day and his sessions last up to an hour. Everyone else finishes in about half an hour. The door to the office is locked and the curtain over the window in the door is down. It is impossible to look into the office without arousing suspicion. If she's dealing with anyone on the mission, it's that guy in her office. DeMarcus Freeman, ex-convict. The funny thing is, he doesn't seem to want to go into her office. When he comes out, he looks very depressed. Your wife, on the other hand, looks like she's just been fucked. Do you want me to continue? No, man. Thanks. I'll take it from here. I now had a solid lead as to the location. It still couldn't be considered a sure thing by forensic standards, but at least it was one lead I could check out. Beverly kept all her keys on the same chain in her purse. I waited until Beverly was taking a nap on a Sunday afternoon, grabbed her keys, and rushed to the mission. If Beverly woke up and noticed her keys missing, I would justify myself by saying that I had lost my necklace, and instead of taking only her extra car key from the chain, I took the whole ring. There was no one at the mission, but if anyone wondered why I was there, I could tell them my wife had sent me to pick up something she needed. I moved quickly forward, opened a side door, went through the dining room, opened the door to the study, and looked for the best camera spots. The bookshelves showed no signs of frequent use, so the mini cameras were placed to give full coverage of the office. 7 minutes later, I was in and out. Once I got to my car, I tested the cameras and saw the images appear on my computer screen. The sound could not be tested. Monday afternoon, nothing happened in the office except Beverly doing paperwork, making phone calls, and consulting with a couple of men about work. Tuesday was different. At first, I had a hard time keeping up with the computer as I was called in for tech help several times. While I was away, I took notes, but when I returned, I caught the end of one date between Beverly and a black man. I stayed after work to watch the full recording. I was pleased to hear that the sound worked fine. DeMarcus was the first to speak. "Miss Simpson, do we have to do this again? My wife is starting to suspect something. If I screw this up, I'll never see my kids again. You can ask a few of the other guys, and I'm sure they'll be happy to serve you." DeMarcus, 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 how many times do we have to say it? You are mine. I own your ass, or I may have other men, and I have before, but right now, for the moment, I want you. And as long as you want to stay out of jail, you will, as you put it, service me. One bad word from me, and you'll be wearing orange again. Now let's begin. A variety of acts in several poses followed. Beverly seemed to be enjoying herself. DeMarcus was obviously reluctant to participate, but eventually his body responded. At last I had proof, documents, the goods, and so on. What was I supposed to do with it now? Divorce on the grounds of adultery provided little more than general irreconcilable differences that required no proof. Proof of infidelity was only of value for custody and perhaps a reduction in child support. Both boys would be in college in 2 months, so the custody and child support issues would fall away. There would be no real financial benefit to me. However, the only benefit to me was very attractive: spite. After years of disrespect from my wife, I wanted revenge. My forensic instincts were finally correct. For once, I had the last word. Now, I had to figure out how to use what I had. That's where my knowledge of technology came in handy. The chairman of the board of directors of Second Chance Mission approached me with a proposal to create a video about the successes of Second Chance Mission, highlighting the outstanding work of its director, Beverly. The board would provide me with historical footage. I would transfer it from VHS to DVD and then edit and organize the presentation. At the celebration where the video would be shown, Beverly would be presented with a national award for community service that she had just received but didn't know about yet. They couldn't think of anything more appropriate than having her loving, tech-savvy husband prepare the presentation. As the evening approached, I needed to prepare more than just a video. I consulted with an attorney to draft the divorce papers in a way that would meet standard distribution and would likely be accepted by her. I would not fight for equal access to money, including my future pension. I just wanted to leave. Living just above the poverty level without Beverly suited me just fine. I found a similar job in another city and quit my current position. My lawyer was to be my only contact for everyone but my boys. I relied on them not telling their mother how to contact me. Showtime! I dressed up for a semi-formal celebration. Beverly was told that the event would be a kickoff fundraiser for the mission and would feature a video that would be used in future promotions. Most of Second Chance's major supporters will be in attendance, as well as a few donors who will hopefully be first-time donors. The alcohol and great food put everyone in a good mood. At the appointed time, the board chairman called everyone to order. He listed the many successes of Second Chance and its director, Beverly Simpson. He then announced that he had a special gift for Beverly, the Hans Kruger National Community Service Award for communities of less than 50,000 people, to Beverly Simpson and Second Chance missions. Raucous applause followed. Beverly was in tears. I played the role of dutiful husband and hugged and kissed her. The chairman asked for silence and continued, "Before we let Beverly finish the evening, we want to show you a video that we plan to use to inform the public about the wonderful work of Second Chance, and hopefully to take money out of your pockets." Soft chuckles erupted in the crowd. "Jared, turn on the video!" I started the video and made sure it played as expected before I jumped out of the building. I headed to my car, which was packed with everything I needed for my immediate departure to my next life. I had many friends over, and I received the following description from them of what happened. The first part of the video gives a historical background of the mission and then goes on to discuss current programs and Beverly. When talking about the Jobs for Ex-Inmates program, the phrase, "Beverly does everything she can to help her clients," was spoken. At this point, a picture was shown of her serving DeMarcus. Next, the announcer said, "Everyone knows Beverly has their back." And then DeMarcus was shown having sex with Beverly. I know technically it was DeMarcus having Beverly's back, but it was somewhat consistent with the narration on the tape. No more video was shown as someone pulled the plug from the outlet. My informant said Beverly was crying and screaming, "It's fake! I can explain. It's my crazy husband." By then, people were leaving. Some were tearing up checks written for donations. Beverly remained at the head table with her head down on the table and crying. A lone figure approached the table and asked, "Are you Beverly Simpson?" "What?" "Beverly Simpson, you've been served." My work was done. At that moment, I regretted not videotaping the celebration. I was proud of myself. The first person to bring me out of my state of bliss was my son, Sydney. "Dad, how could you? You destroyed Mom in front of everyone. On top of that, you probably destroyed the Second Chance mission. I know from the video you sent us how Mom betrayed you, but what you did was out of line. I don't know when, if ever, I'll be able to talk to you." He hung up. I was so immersed in my own experiences that I didn't think about how my act might affect others. Second Chance mission has helped a lot of people. In addition, my lawyer told me that DeMarcus was threatening a lawsuit. His wife kicked him out and filed for divorce. I had to do something positive. My attorney was able to give me information about DeMarcus's wife. I contacted her and begged for 10 minutes of her time. In her apartment, I turned on the tape from Beverly's office so she could hear DeMarcus not wanting to have sex but being threatened with going back to jail. From what she was telling me by the time I left, there was a chance to save their marriage. I sent a letter to the board of directors and all the donors to Second Chance mission and apologized for my actions. I begged them not to give up on the mission and promised to send as much money as I could, even though I knew I didn't have much. I even took out an ad in the city newspaper asking for support for Second Chance. It turned out that there was enough response to reopen the mission on a trial basis. I didn't know what to make of the way I'd treated Beverly. Was it justified and the damage to the mission and DeMarcus only collateral damage? Or was it too harsh? My lawyer said he hadn't heard anything from her or her attorney. While I was trying to figure out if I should do anything else, my son Norris called. "Dad, you need to talk to Mom." "I don't know what to tell her." "She doesn't want to talk to you about the divorce. She needs to talk to you about her health. You need to talk to her for your own good." "Okay, I'll call her now." As much as I was afraid of hearing the reprimand from her that I probably deserved at least somewhat, I called. "Beverly, it's Jared. Norris said there was something you wanted to tell me." "Oh, Jared, what I did to you was awful, but was it so? Oh, never mind. It's not something I need to tell you. Jared, you need to get checked for STDs right away." "What?" "One of the men I had sex with, Reggie, tested positive for a type of STD. He gave my name to the health department. I tested positive, too. You need to get tested. I know we haven't had sex much in the last few months, but this could be life or death. Jared, I'm in shock. I also get the feeling you're just trying to scare me for what I did to you. I guess I deserved it." "Jared, it's not a ploy. Anyway, you just need to get tested, and if it comes back positive, get treatment. Getting treatment quickly is very important. But I did what I had to do. I told you, do what you want to do. Bye." Well, I'm not stupid, but one day I got kicked out of Motel 6. I went and got tested. The result came back negative, so I wasn't sure if I was lucky or if I was right about Beverly trying to have the last word in our last argument. I continued to live my new life, albeit sparingly. The fear of STDs was enough to make me feel at ease about the revenge I had instigated. A few months passed. I was pleased to learn that DeMarcus and his wife had reconciled and withdrawn the lawsuit. Mission Second Chance was given a second chance accordingly. A new director came in and was able to rejuvenate the program and sponsors. I sent them all the spare money I had. Things started to calm down. But Beverly had to have the last word. This time it was Sydney who called. "Daddy, Mommy's dying." "What makes you say that?" Obviously, I was expecting a ruse. Norris and I got worried when she wouldn't return our calls. We called Mrs. Spencer, our old neighbor, to see how she was doing. She said Mom was in the hospital. She assumed we knew. We went there as soon as we could. We almost didn't recognize her. She had lost so much weight. The doctor said she had refused treatment for an STD that she had tested positive for. Said it was her punishment for being such a disgusting person. Said she deserved a horrible death. They're giving her pain medication, but she doesn't have long to live. She asked if we could ask you to come over. Mom wants to see you before she dies. Will you come? I'll be there in 3 hours. I'd broken several speed laws. I needed one last chance to redeem myself if possible. I didn't want her to die. I went to her room. Sydney and Norris were there. They had left so we could be alone. Beverly was such a beautiful woman. But this was not the woman I had seen. This woman was emaciated, gaunt, and lifeless. I was afraid to wake her up. Somehow she sensed my presence. "Jared, thank you for coming. I'd like to say once, for the record, that I'm sorry. Please forgive me." I couldn't hold back the tears. "Of course I forgive you. Can you forgive me?" She smiled at me and replied, "No." That was the last word she uttered. You might think that was cruel of her, but when I had a chance to think about it, I decided that maybe she told me no to give me a reason not to feel guilty about what I had done to her. Would I know for sure? Of course not, but I'd like to think so. When I received my life insurance check for $100,000, I gave it to Second Chance Mission. They told me it was the largest contribution they had ever received. I made sure they noted that the check was donated in memory of Beverly Simpson. I was happy to give her the last word.